Super Bowl.
We are live.
Oh my goodness, I'm so.
We are live.
Here we go. Let me do this.
Retweeted.
Live now. We're retweeting live. Here we go. Okay. Boom. A boom.
There it is.
Oh my goodness, buddy. How exciting is this?
Start
He
this
looks
bad boy
so
up.
Dapper. All right, here
The
we go.
first of many.
Here we go. Hey! Hello! It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app and the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm slamming the table.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are going to the freaking Super Bowl. Elliott Shore Parks, the weirdest, strangest game of all time. Couldn't care less. For the third time in my life, I'm seeing my team go to the bowl. I get 2 weeks of my team on the world stage. We're going to get into all of it. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about what's coming up. We are actually doing this for those watching live, as the Chiefs-Bengals game
Being
is
played
happening.
now. But here's the good
halftime.
news. We got a 7 a.m. pod
Tomorrow morning. So we're not even going to worry about that, but we're going to revel in this. But my number one thing that I feel right now is just, I'm so happy, man.
Yeah.
I'm so happy because this ride we've been on with everyone, the daily pods, the whole thing, and this team that we've just believed in so much all year, and it's such a likable group, and Jalen and Nick and all these, all this stuff we talked about here, this felt right. I think as much as we could have had a successful season otherwise, going to the Super Bowl felt like the only acceptable end to this season, however it plays out.
Well,
and I'm just happy we're here.
I think it's what they deserved.
Yeah,
they deserve to be in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
they deserve to be in the Super Bowl.
We're going to Super Bowl, man.
Yeah. So I'm driving out of the link tonight, and waiting to do my hit on WP. I call my mom and my dad, and we're talking. And I said to myself when I'm talking to them, I should say, wow, it's unbelievable, right? But then I thought about it. And what happened tonight is actually extremely believable. They're the better team than the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it would have been Brock Purdy all game. I don't care if it would have been Jimmy G all game, Trey Lance, Josh Johnson, whoever. They won this game tonight because they're the better team. They have better line play. They have better coaches. They had a better quarterback no matter who was under center. And I think with this team, there's such a dominance that there's no suspenseful moments. So sometimes it doesn't feel real. The idea
69-14 in the playoffs.
The idea
Elliott, they've outscored their team 69-14. What the hell is that?
Think about this. The last time there was probably legitimate concern, man, maybe they're not going to go to the Super Bowl, was when Jalen got hurt.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we always thought they would be the 1 seed. And I was probably concerned at certain points of will they come out and play well? And then they got the Giants, which was great news for them to pick up steam.
But I'm so happy.
They're going to the Super Bowl, but it's
still going to the Super Bowl.
And it still doesn't
Super Bowl, man.
But sometimes it doesn't feel real because there's never a feeling of them not going.
Yeah.
Because they're never close in
It's
these
been
games,
too easy.
Right?
It feels like it shouldn't be this easy.
I mean, think about this. They have pulled Jalen Hurts in both playoff games. In both games, they have pulled Jalen Hurts to put Gardner Minshew.
That's insane.
And
that's it, legitimately.
I mean, all right, so here's a macro type of look at this.
Hey.
They're going to the Super Bowl for the second time in 6-7 years?
5 years.
Right? They're doing it with a new head coach and a new quarterback. They're doing it with probably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. They're doing it with the best cornerback duo in the NFL. They're doing it with arguably the best defensive line in the NFL. They're doing it with arguably the best offensive line in the NFL. Franchises and teams, this is going to sound silly, but it's an overreaction pod. They're not supposed to be this good. You're not supposed to get back to the Super Bowl with a whole new roster, basically. The only main guys they have are Brandon Graham, Jason Kelce, Lane.
We talked about that heading into the playoffs. The first time, I'm assuming it's the first time they've done it with the Super Bowl, but we knew it was the first time that a team had gotten the 1 seed within 5 years of each other with a different head coach and a different quarterback.
Yeah.
That had never happened before.
And I, with the Super Bowl in this moment, you definitely want to cherish every moment, right? And enjoy the next 2 weeks and enjoy the fact that, as you said, for the next 2 weeks and maybe 3 weeks, the Eagles are going to be the center of the sporting, universe in this country.
I love it, man.
But here's the other way to look at it. This is something that is going to be happening often. They are a well-run franchise. Their core of this team is young. Their quarterback is 24 years old. Their receivers are young. The head coach is young. They have Hassan Reddick is young for his position. everywhere you look, this team is set up to be dominant. And again, I know Brock Purdy leaves the game, and there were certainly moments early on that were stressful. But outside of that, they just win. Every week we talk ourselves and, well, maybe it'll be close, or, oh, the Giants are playing well, or even think about the Titans game. It was, well, this is the toughest team they faced. They annihilated the Titans. The Giants, well, the Giants are coming in hot. They're the toughest, this is going to be a tough test, blah, blah, blah. The Giants are better than you think. Annihilated the Giants. The 49ers are the best team by far. They're, I don't care who's at quarterback. This team is so well coached. That defense is unbelievable. They were on pace for 42 points against that defense until they pulled the reins back because they were up so much, right? Every single time we've said, well, this is the test, the team has come out and absolutely annihilated that test. It's like they're the best team I've ever seen. They're the best team, whatever.
You've covered.
Yeah. Well, and yeah. I mean, look, the Patriots that went undefeated were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I cover them. But I mean, if like Philly sports lifetime, I can't think of a team where I was like, there's almost no doubt. I mean, me and you, when we recorded the pod after they beat the Giants, was, yeah, the Niners are going to be tough. And I think by the end of the week, we had kind of gotten to the point of, yeah, the Eagles are definitely better. We should, like, all along, we should have just been like, yeah, they're probably going to blow them out, because that's what the Eagles do, because they're great on both lines. They have a great quarterback. They're smart with the ball. They're well coached. We'll get into Super Bowl preview tomorrow morning on Monday, and we'll probably do the same thing again, which is, this is going to be the toughest team they're going to face. And they haven't played a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow and blah, blah, blah. Every single team the Eagles face, they're going to have a really good chance to win because of how they are built, how they are coached, and how they play. That's what we've learned throughout all this. We can talk ourselves into this, that, the third, whatever. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now. It's all you can ask for. And they're an extremely likable group.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. They're easy to root for, and the way they go about their business. And I saw Jalen Hurts smile on the sideline at the end of the game tonight, and I was like, wow, that's weird, because he's always so intense and so serious. It's so easy to root for them. And obviously we have the guys we already love from the last time with the Kelce's and the Grahams, and guys we already are like are legends to us already. It's such a likable group. And to your point, like, Jalen Hurts is 16-1 this year.
Yeah.
He's 16-1.
He's like 25
season.
Or like
Think about
22-3 in his last 25 games.
It feels like they haven't even really played that well, and they've won 69-14 in 2 games in the postseason. Like, they are dominant. They are an unbelievable football team, to your point. And like, I mean, and again, look, the Purdy thing, and I know there's gonna be Niners, or Purdy doesn't get hurt and all that. They were way better.
Yeah, they were way better.
They should have won by way more today. Like, and I know the Purdy thing sucks, and it's like you don't want to win that way and all that. And look, again, third time they've ever won the Super Bowl. I'll take whatever. The breaks never seem to go our way. Well, it's so rare that stuff goes our way, but they win either way. They were better. They were the better football team.
There was a part of me that when Purdy got knocked out that thought they'd almost be better if Purdy came in, because I think Josh Johnson brought an unknown,
and he's a vet.
He's a veteran. Yeah. We talked all week about how Purdy was going to get shaken by the moment. Yeah. Josh Johnson, look, he's a career backup, but he's played in a lot of games, right? So there was that. But I think the moment for me for this game that won it for them was the 4th and 1 call by Sirianni. I thought
29. It was amazing.
Yeah. So it was at the 29 yard.
Their own.
So at their own 29 yard line. It's 7-0, I think, at that point.
Yes.
But it was tense, and like there was a real tension in the stadium. And then especially when it got to 7-7, there was a real tension of, oh my God, they should be up more. Why is this not going better? The offense wasn't playing well. The Niners defense looked awesome. They were awesome.
The Niners defense, other than the
that being said, they still put up 21 points.
And
in
the penalties were a disaster for them.
Yeah.
Like the penalties really, 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 really hurt them and gave the Eagles momentum. And the Eagles did have 4 rushing touchdowns against them and all that. But the Niners defense was legit. Legit.
They're great. But the 4th and 1 call to me said so many things about this team. The first thing it showed was when they want to do something, they're just going to do it, right? You cannot stop that play because Kelce, Sayamalu, Landon Dickerson, and Jalen Hurts are too good at it. I don't care who's on that other side. They're going to hit that play 99 out of 100 times, right? But I also think what it showed was talent isn't always enough in the way that when Nick Sirianni wasn't a finalist for the Coach of the Year, it was, well, his roster's so loaded, like anybody could do it. Or his doesn't have as big of a challenge as Brian Daboll. You can't tell me that going forward on 4th and 1 from their own 29 in the conference championship game, where the game is still very much in question, is not a great coaching move.
Oh my God, yeah.
Kyle Shanahan probably doesn't do it. Who knows what
Sirianni
Doug probably does it, but
Shanahan today. I know 100% Shanahan had a lot of
but
obstacles in his way, but he absolutely outcoached.
Right, and this is what we were both trying to say, but it was so stage for everybody tonight. They're not just a talented roster. They're a very well coached team. They're a great.
It's everything. It's
yeah.
top to bottom. Like if you want to talk like Lori and Howie, the credit they deserve, the point we talked about rebuilding this franchise. Again, they were 4-11-1 2 years ago at this time.
They were 2-5
2 years ago.
They were 2-5
and then
last
they were 2
year.
and 5. Like they've been down as a franchise. And for Lori and Howie to hire Sirianni in the first place, like that guy, you know, when we first thought of him, all that type of stuff, the rebuild the roster that he did, for Howie to have the offseason he just had. I mean, look at the guys. I mean, Hassan Reddick is arguably the best single season signing for 1 year in like the history of the franchise. He's having, if you take the playoffs into account, he's arguably having, like, other than maybe like the best Reggie White season, the best defensive season in the history of the franchise. He's been amazing. He every CJ, James Bradbury, the AJ Brown trade, like it is like miraculous what this. Remember all those conversations we had? They could be the Jaguars, the blue chip players, the this, that. Like they answered every question and more times a million.
Well, and so that, like, you know, so 4-11 in 2020. 2-5 last year. Let's not overlook, and to your point, you just said it, how far down the plank they were.
Yep.
You know, they lose and they drop to 2-6, or if they lose 2 games in a row and they go to 2-7 or whatever, it might be done. It might be done. Like Jalen might not be here. Nick might not be back. Howie might not be back. If that season falls apart, and it was this close to falling apart.
It was on the edge.
This close, right? And they turned it around because Nick's a great coach. Jalen's a winner. Howie's a good GM. All those things because they're good at it. But sports are a crazy thing. And if they lose that game or if they fall to 2-6-7, whatever, it could be over. They're not in this situation.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they turned it around. And, you know, I think that with all 3 of them, and Jeffrey too, I'll throw him in there too.
He deserves to be
all
in there.
4 of them.
He should be in there, dude. Jeffrey should be in there.
They have, in my opinion, the perfect combination of a belief in what they believe in, but a willingness to adjust. Right?
I wouldn't take any owner, GM.
No, they have the strongest backbone in the league. Yeah. They have the strongest backbone in the league.
Flat out.
And again, it shows by the fact they're going to be back in the Super Bowl.
Again, he's proved it over and over again. The ability to rebound, like this organization's ability to rebound from being a low, like the low of Chip Kelly. We thought we'd never been that low. He traded everyone away. He tanked the team. Like everything fell apart. Everyone hated each other. Boom. 2 years later, Super Bowl. Doug in his second year at Super Bowl. Nick, tanks. They get to 4-11-1. Nick in his second year Super Bowl. I mean, it is miraculous. It is stunning.
Yeah.
What they've done is stunning, Elliot.
It's completely stunning. I mean, again, they're not just words we're saying. They're going to the Super Bowl.
They're 16-3 right now. 16-1 with Hurts as a team.
They made a mockery of the NFC.
And 2 of the losses were Minshew. I mean, again, they made them 69-14. Think about that.
Not even close. And again, I can't stress this enough to people. Look, getting the quarterback situation. When Josh Johnson went out, they were done. At that point, it was over. But like, they were going to win that game anyway.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy is really not that much better than Josh Johnson. Brock Purdy had, and Josh Johnson too, they had no room to operate because the Eagles defensive line was all over it. The Niners offensive line had absolutely no answers for that defensive line. So again, I don't care who was back there. They were going to dominate that game. On offense, it was a slow start for sure. But ultimately, again, like this is how good the team is. I'm sitting here and going, they weren't that great, you know. They had 21 first half points.
And again,
there's teams in the NFL like the Bucks like the Bucks and the Giants that would kill to get to 21 points.
They had 4 rushing. Did you see that Rube stat? So this was when they were at 3. Rube put out that this Niners defense had given up 3 rushing touchdowns in their last 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And the Eagles had 3 in the first half and 4 in the game. Like that's freaking impressive.
It's amazing.
Man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's amazing.
And to go in this game, we're like, throw. And to be able to like, hey, it's not working. To be able to, that's what we've talked about all year with this team, especially this offense. It makes it so impressive. And we've seen it in the playoffs where it's like, they are like the real can beat you in any way team. And that's, you know, we always talk about that, but that's, I mean, the Chiefs, we're watching the Chiefs and Bengals right now. Like they have some players and stuff, but I don't feel like either of those teams can
run the ball.
Run the ball the way the Eagles can to dominate against the best rush defense in football.
Right. So doing the radio hits this week, a bunch of shows asked me, like, do you think they'll come out running or throwing the ball? And the first time in the history of my career, I've given this answer, which is in my core, I felt it. Maybe that's another me turning into an older journalist. Like, they'll do whatever they think works best.
Yeah.
And it's the honest to God truth. Like, I'm a big throw the ball guy. It's my fetish. We've talked about it. I love throwing the ball, right? Certain people out there get off on running the ball. That's not me. But ultimately, this is a team that will just come out and do whatever they see on film. If they watch a film and go,
and can adjust in game.
Exactly.
It looked like they wanted to throw it in, it wasn't working. They're like, all right,
or we'll just run the ball. Right. We'll just run the
And it
ball.
wasn't even Jalen much. It was like running up their throats,
Yes.
man, holes. And stuff.
They'll just come out and do whatever they want. And, we're going to repeat ourselves a lot, but I'll do it again. They weren't even that good in the first half,
Yeah.
and they had 21 points.
Yep.
They weren't even that good. And
No.
then when they got to
Not even
28,
that good. They
when it
weren't
was-
good.
dude, in the second half, I literally was sitting there like, well, now I just have to kill clock.
Yeah,
They were like minus 1,800 on the Parks app.
I know.
They were minus 16 and a half. Think about it. They entered the game minus 2.5. By halftime, they were minus 16 and a half.
Yeah.
Minus
Massive.
11, again, like minus 1,800 on the money line. There was no shot they were losing that game. Nobody, and it's not just a quarterback. Nobody believed they were going to lose that game. And why don't they? Why? Because the Eagles don't blow leads. Why don't they blow leads? They can run the ball. They have a great offensive line. They can rush the passer, and they're smart with the ball. Jalen wasn't going to make that mistake. There were a few plays where they went deep where I was like, I don't really know why you're doing that. And maybe I was probably being too conservative on like taking your foot off the pedal. But the Niners were never going to score over 14 points. So ultimately, the whole second half was basically just killing time to get to the end of the game.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like the Niners felt that way.
Everyone did. That's why it was such a weird, like it was the weirdest first quarter of all time with like the way the game played out, the Purdy injury,
Yeah.
like all the weird stuff, like the chain thing happening. Like there were so many different things. It was just like a strange first quarter. And then the game just kind of fell off the whole way. But like at no point, like it was almost weird. And that it was like, I kept saying like, well, if the Eagles do this, it's over. Well, if the Eagles, and they kept doing everything I
Yeah.
said. And it was like, because it was always over. It was always over.
That's what I'm saying. Like, again, as I kind of started the pod with, I'll say it again. It's unbelievable, but except it's actually completely believable.
Yeah.
It would have been more surprising if they would have lost. Well, definitely if they would have lost, but it would have been more surprising if the game was close in some ways.
And we said that going in. We said it's way more likely the Eagles blow them out than the game than they lose.
Yeah.
Is how we felt about it. And that's how it played out. And they were just so much better. And again, it is so impressive how things just aren't working with this team. They can adapt in game and say, all right, well, we'll just do this. And we're going to run on the best run defense in football
Right.
and just run all over them.
I mean, the only touchdown they allowed was, look, credit in all the world to McCaffrey on
It was
that
bad
run. It
tackling.
was unbelievable. It was bad
it
tackling.
was bad.
but,
Like CJ just
it
threw his
took-
back into him.
It took horrendous tackling. Like
Marcus Epps
almost
just
everybody
missed.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
Marcus Epps, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Darius
Slay like whiffed on
They
it.
all
Yeah.
missed, right? And outside of that, the Niners never even really
It
threatened.
wasn't even close.
Were they even in the red zone?
I
Other than that?
don't remember.
I don't think they might
so.
have been.
Yeah.
I don't think they were. Like they were completely unable to move the ball. And I do think in the second half, at that point, it was when Josh
Well,
Johnson,
they could run, they couldn't even throw.
well, when Josh
anymore.
Johnson left, it was
over.
It's done,
And
right?
and
But-
Sue crushed him.
Yeah,
Crushed him.
but Reddick knocked him out the game.
Yeah, and Reddick, dude, like let's get to some accolades. We obviously talked about Hurts and Sirianni, and look, we have again, we're very excited. Daily Pod's coming till the Super Bowl.
2 more
So,
weeks at least. Of
Yes.
daily
So
pods.
tomorrow morning, we're doing another pod tomorrow morning. We'll talk about who they're matching up with and stuff. So we've got a lot to react to, but a couple, Hurts, Sirianni, we've done all that stuff. Like quickly, a couple other guys to
I
shout
took
out.
some notes too. By the way.
Yeah, I did too, obviously.
Yeah.
But quickly on Reddick, just to add in a little more, just to hammer home, like what this guy has done and meant to this team. I mean, he has been one of the best defensive players in football this year. He has had more sacks than he's had games when you had in the playoffs.
Dude, he's been the best he's having the best season of any edge rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, dude.
Considering the playoffs,
in the
too?
history of the Eagles, like Reggie White. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the only other guy who ever had a season like
Right.
this. And this dude's going to the Super Bowl. And when you think about like, not only is it just awesome, but like the fact that it's a Philly kid who's a freaking walk-on.
Yeah,
He's a
Temple
walk-on.
guy,
He was a
Temple guy.
walk-on at Temple.
Yeah.
A walk-on. Like he couldn't even not just get recruited by Big. He was a walk-on at Temple, and for him to go these other places and have productive
To
seasons,
hit free
but not get-
agency.
not exactly, not get like any respect whatsoever.
Right.
This year, not getting the DPO, I think like, it's just like constant. I'm just really happy for this dude and for this story and for ourselves, this team that we have him here, because he is one of the best defensive players in football. He's had one of the best. He's now after this game, he's had the best year in football as a defensive player when you take the playoffs into it.
I mean, think about this. What are the 3 most important positions in football?
Edge
Offense.
rusher, offensive line, quarterback.
The Eagles have arguably the best in the league at
Yeah,
every one of those.
yeah.
They have
It's amazing.
arguably the best offensive tackle in Lane. They have arguably the best quarterback in Jalen, and arguably the best edge rusher
Yeah.
in Hassan Reddick.
That's a great
right?
point.
And I'm sure I've said it, but Hassan Reddick makes plays when he gets to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, look at
Goes after the
Micah
ball.
Parsons.
And also getting that fumble was tough. I don't know if you guys could see it in the press
No,
conference,
yeah.
but like he fought for that. Like he should not have ended up with that ball on
Yeah.
the Josh, and that was a huge play.
I mean, Micah Parsons is a great player. Micah Parsons, I'm almost positive, had 0 sacks in the playoffs and had 5 sacks after the month of November. Like, Hassan Reddick has been averaging over a sack a game since November.
Mhm.
When the games became their biggest, Hassan Reddick stepped up and played his best football. And we can just get in. If we want, we can just get into notes now. But
yeah. Well, one more guy I want to shout out because we mentioned him before, but like I tweeted this, but it's like what keeps popping in my mind. 2022 Kenny Gainwell is Corey Clement in 2017. I mean, he's been
better,
but he's been amazing.
Yeah,
with
better.
This. And it's not just like he's had big holes and all that stuff, but he's run hard and he's had great visions. It's the best Kenny Gainwell we've ever seen. He has been like such a revelation for them.
There was a 3-play sequence. I forget what the score was because honestly, after halftime it was over. But like it was a second and long. He catches the ball and gets about 3 or 4 yards of yak, which is huge because it brings it to 3rd and short as opposed to 3rd and long. 3rd and 4, I think it was. He runs for the first down, and then the next play after that, he breaks it loose for like a 15 or 20 yard run. It was a 3-play sequence of. It was huge. It like to continue to hammer the game away.
It's wild too because, and you talked about this when we talked about them having 22 of 22 starters. Talked about like it's miraculous in this day of war attrition. You also point out it's miraculous because no one got benched, which is a real thing. But like it highlights the idea that if you go into the season, you think about all the Eagles players, like you can count on one hand the guys who didn't live up to what you expected. Gainwell's probably on that list, right?
He was probably the top guy during the year. Yeah.
The top guy, we were like, I expected more from him. It didn't matter, but I expect more from him. And now we get this in the playoffs. It's just this freaking team, man.
Yeah.
This team. Like, what a roster. What a roster. It is the best Eagles roster, man for man, we've ever seen.
It might not even be close.
It's one of the best football rosters I've ever seen.
Dude, all right. So another player I want to talk about, and it's the first thing I have on my notes.
Yeah, go to your notes.
Okay. The Devontae 4th and 3 play.
Amazing.
So there was
I know it wasn't like,
Yeah, he didn't catch it, but whatever.
But whatever.
It was close enough to make it a
good situational football.
Yeah, he goes like this. He knows
get up. Yeah.
Well, but the other play on that drive that was
even just to make it close is unbelievable.
Dude, there was a 3rd and 8 play on that drive where Jalen has pressure right in his face.
Yeah.
Like lofts it to AJ Brown.
Yeah,
AJ goes down to get it.
Hand strength. He's like grabs it. It was like tight. Like,
It's just, again, you see it week in and week out. The Eagles have more talent than other teams. Like
plays.
Other teams can't make that play. The quarterback doesn't make the throw. The receiver doesn't make the catch. That's why you pay $100 million for AJ Brown. That's why they're going to pay a ton for Jalen Hurts. Like special plays like that. But the Devontae 4th and 3 catch. I mean, the fact he even almost made it a catch. The fact he got his one hand on it, brings it in, goes down. Like, the dude is unbelievable. I if he's on a team where he's the legit number one who knows how he does, and Devontae should get as much money as he can. I'm not going to advise him to do anything. But man, him and AJ can be such a good duo.
I would prioritize him. He's worth it.
Well, no, what I mean from Devontae's perspective is he might not be the quote unquote number one,
I get it.
but I think his career, he can be a Hall of Famer on this team with him and AJ,
he's
right?
trending that way. I mean, he's had the best. He's had the best first 2 seasons in the history of the Eagles. Like no one has ever had a better first 2 years.
Yeah.
As as an Eagles receiver. Ever.
I mean, think about the fact there was legitimate debates about, man, is he too skinny?
I know.
It's never an issue. He had a block today on
he's
a
so
rushing
smooth.
touchdown.
He gets wide open. He never takes big hits. He's so smart. He's always his concentration. Even that one he didn't catch tonight where he was like blanketed and it kind of bounced up. Like he was like the cornerback's falling to the ground and he's like tracking the ball and trying to get it as he's falling backwards. Yep. It's like it's just. I'm so with you, dude. We've talked so much about AJ, and AJ's been great. Like, there's an argument that Devontae was just as good, if not better.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I 100% agree with that. Like, Devontae's been unbelievable this year, and big players make big plays in big games, and that's exactly what they like. They are a team of players that are clutch. Like we've talked about. Once Carson injured himself, there was a lot of, well, can Carson win the big games, right? Like. And look at the Sixers. Can Joel Embiid win the big games? Like the Phillies didn't make the playoffs for a long time. This is a team of guys that their entire lives have just literally made the big plays on Devontae. Like all these guys. Jalen. They played in the biggest games and they've dominated.
Yeah, no doubt. And then the Kelseys and the Lanes and the BGs, the guys.
Yeah, they've won Super Bowls, right? Exactly. Hassan Reddick is doing it now in the first chance he's got.
BG has made as big a play as you can make in the NFL.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was just, now the one. I don't even know if it's worth bringing up a negative, but the one thing I will say is
Brett Kern, the worst. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
It's the only.
Well, what'd you think of the?
He's horrible.
What'd you think of the whole
wire thing? That was the other part. When I was talking about the weird first quarter, like that was so weird too. Look, they had no clear shot of it. We couldn't even on TV. There was no shot of it. So like, I doubt. I'm sure.
I don't think they had a
like
view
the whole sideline reacted like it, and the punt did look like it changed a weird like. Like it kind of was up and then it kind of went down
Right.
quicker. So like I'm sure it did, but like whatever.
Right.
I'm sure it hit it, but it's weird that can happen and there won't be one camera that gets
It's
it.
so
Like, that's weird.
I agree with that.
I mean, how many cameras are in that game? Hundreds.
And it
you
was
know?
also weird that he was
in
like,
that stadium?
we can't review it. And I was thinking maybe all the cameras they had, but then I did see an angle of it where you can't really see the wire.
You
I don't
can't
know.
see it at all.
It is what it is. Like, the wire is
They had it,
impossible
they
to
would have
see
showed
on
us on
video.
TV. There was
Yeah.
none.
And I agree with you. It probably did hit the wire.
Probably did.
But,
They reacted like crazy. The whole sideline. It wasn't just
Right.
one guy. It was like the whole team was like, look at that.
but
you
from
know?
the ref's perspective, I can see their
They
point
can't
of
do it. I
you
get
can't-
it.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
No, Brett Kern was awful. And it doesn't help when the other punch you have are not good either.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he's a guy that the refs are thinking, and I know they're not supposed to ref a game this way.
But they're like, oh, this guy stinks anyway.
Yeah, they're probably like-
I'm sure it didn't know why. He's
Right.
just terrible. Yeah. No. By the way, that roughing the punter, you never see that. Yeah, and I get what they're going for, but the penalty is like,
Yeah, I think at that
wild.
point they're just
My buddy had a
trying to
really
make
funny
something
text. He was like, the Niners defense is really moving the ball down the field. I was like, yep, you're right.
that's good. That's good.
It was really good. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this because
Yes.
we texted about it, and I'm curious your perspective on it.
The Hurts.
The
injury
Hurts
thing.
thing.
So
So
he looked.
okay.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
go ahead.
I'll go.
Yeah. Set it up.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Did you know that?
Thank you. Yeah, you are.
You
You
should
texted
be.
me a whole bunch about it.
I'm like
It's
really,
gonna
really
be dude.
excited.
It's gonna be an
I'm
unbelievable.
so happy.
Think
Like,
about
this. Is like
dude. I talked so much about the 2017 Super
I
Bowl. We're
know.
about to live it again.
I know. I'm
About
like,
to live
I'm
it again.
like, I'm so happy.
It's all right. So the Jalen Hurts missed throw to AJ. He can't miss those throws.
Yeah.
And it's the second week in a row he's missed it. He missed the one against the Giants, and they're up big. Now they weren't up big against at the
yeah.
time. And like for a while, I had it in bold on my notes. Like
Could have been bad.
that's a really bad miss.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple ways you can look at it. One way is maybe AJ's dealing with something, and Jalen has
couldn't
been
get
used
to
to
it.
throwing him
Yeah.
a certain way, and he can't get there. Right? That's part of it. But and here we go again with doing this. Presumably, the Super Bowl will be closer. And when you have an opportunity to make that
Yeah,
throw,
you gotta make it.
I kind of felt bad because Jalen's been such a great passer this year.
He's
He's
made that
improved
throw
so much.
all
He's made
year.
it so much.
He's made
And then in that spot to
specific-
miss it,
yeah,
it just shows a little bit how fluky sports can
because
be.
he's
Where,
made that throw all year.
yeah,
All year, that specific throw to that guy. Like
Yeah.
he's dropped it in the bucket so many times with that guy in that spot. Look, I think it did. Look, they said in the broadcast going in, Tom Rinaldi was like, Jalen said he's not 100%.
he keeps
and like,
telling everyone that
he
before the
keeps
game.
telling him that. And look,
Why
it
is he
did
willing
look
to say it right before the
like
game?
that
but
one
not-
play where that one run where like he did the back-to-back runs. He did run after, which I was like, all right,
Yeah.
maybe he's fine. But like he did get up slow. and
there
it
was
like,
one where he definitely got
he
it
looked
slow,
like
yeah.
he was grimacing.
Looked a little rattled.
Yeah, so like I'm sure he's not 100, but like still, even the
There's one more
throws
game
he's
at
back.
this point.
Yeah, exactly. And he's
Right.
got another week off, extra
Yeah.
2 weeks instead of one. But yeah, he's got to make the throw. Yeah, he missed it.
So on one hand, I think about these 2 weeks of Jalen's play, and I think he's probably only been okay. But then I think that's how high he set the bar, that he's
And he's
literally
probably
been on the bench in the
80%
fourth
or
quarter because
85 or
yeah,
whatever.
that
Yeah.
he's been on the bench in the fourth quarter of these
And
games.
we're
So he's
like,
been up so much. I don't think he has any interceptions,
Yeah,
right? I can't.
no.
Yeah, no interceptions. I mean, probably I don't know, 4 or 5 total touchdowns between rushing, throwing,
Mhm.
whatever. No, I can't think off the top of my head any passes that have been in
I think
serious
it's
harm's
3
way.
touchdowns, 2 passing. And 1
They've had a lot of rushing.
Oh no, I
touchdowns
think
here.
because he had 2 rushing, so he said 4. I think. Yeah.
Right. I can't think of many passes he's put in harm's way off the top of my head.
Agree.
No, none like super egregious ones. So he's been everything you kind of wanted. But I also do agree with you, like a little bit. He probably has not looked fully himself,
Mhm.
but maybe he just hasn't had to be. I mean, the whole
Well,
second
he-
half.
not maybe. He clearly hasn't.
Well,
had to
and
be.
think about
they won-
this.
They're 69-14,
Right.
2 games. Obviously.
Think about this. The second half of both games didn't matter. So
Yeah.
you're basically 50% of the snaps he's taken on offense have not mattered. And then outside of that, you think about the fact they've scored so much early on. Clearly, the offense is functioning at a really high level. I don't have concern about Jalen's injury. You texting me about it made me think about it more because you're seeing the broadcast, you're seeing his face. Like, you have better insight there than I do. But when I'm watching it, I never think he's hurt, other than the missed deep passes. But I do kind of think it's AJ.
Yeah,
Not
I think-
blaming
look,
anybody, but I think
it goes
AJ
both
maybe
ways.
can't-
And also just think the offense wasn't clicking today. And again, that Niners D's good. Like that was the one thing. Like yes, the Purdy thing kind of took away from the matchup and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff. And again, I think they beat him handily.
They were
anyway.
going to win that game.
I agree.
They were going to win that game.
But I think like in terms of like that offense going up against Niners defense, that was a real matchup. Like that Niners D is awesome.
Early on, you could tell.
Like
Yeah.
towards the end,
Dude, they
got
almost
beat
got a
down.
safety
They
early
got beat
on.
down, but they were
Yeah.
damn good, and they were the coverage. We talked so much about how that's the matchup. Their coverage was great.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. Jalen had a ton of time early, and it just looked like there was no one.
I
open.
agree. I thought
So-
Jalen early on, like confused isn't probably the word I want to use. It was probably mostly, to your point, just really good coverage. Excuse me. But there were a lot of times early on where I felt he was dropping back and it just looked more like
less decisive. It
yeah,
wasn't, like normally he either takes off. Or
yeah,
like,
exactly. I feel like he
forces
was running around there a little
and
more
just
than
kind of looking around, but not willing to run quite as much.
Not really sure what he wants to do.
It's a little weird.
It was probably the coverage.
Yeah,
the coverage was good.
I think it was the coverage. And again,
they scored 21 first half points.
Exactly. And the game was never in doubt.
Yeah.
It was 7-7. Even then, we're like, nah, come on.
Well,
it was nerve wracking, but
I didn't actually think they were going to lose, but there was probably 15 minutes of real time where I was like, this is not ideal.
Well, yeah, especially because you were in the
like,
stadium too, and you were like, we were texting about that. I do think like when you're in the stadium, you can get that kind of weird vibe, especially in Philly, like a place where we've lost a lot. We've been in those. We remember 2002 and what it felt like to be in that stadium.
Well, and that felt like this game too, in the way that they score really quick,
and it can get tight in a stadium and anxious in a stadium. But I think watching at home, it was never that nerve wracking. Right, at least for me.
Well, again, I always say this, but the best way to see how you shoot out a game is on the Parks app, and they were, minus 1,000 for like I don't know, 70% of the game, like so. Yeah, they're unbelievable. And I think, like I said, they deserve it.
That might be the title. They're actually Tails. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but
they deserve it. They deserve it.
They deserve
like
it.
Nick deserved it. Jalen deserved it. Devontae earned it. Yeah, they earned this. They earned this.
And look, moving forward, all these guys have Super Bowl experience. My weapons, like Jalen played in the Super Bowl, Nickel played in the Super Bowl. Like, all that's like, it's like for this franchise, I feel like that we felt a lot like the Wentz thing and all that it felt different. Then it was just like our first run. The run was special. It was like a lot of more veteran players, guys who've been here longer, all that. Like this one feels a lot more like, and again, we know the Carson thing, anything can happen. We can think someone's going to be here for the next 20 years and then, or 10 years or whatever. And then he's gone before we know it. But this one does feel more like the start of something. And that one did too, but this one even more so.
Well,
feels like the start
and the difference was obviously they did it with Foles.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you think about, in 20 years, when we're talking about who are the best quarterbacks to ever play for the team. And look, 20 years is a long time. So there's going to be new people and everything. But as of now, it's like McNabb, and it's probably Hurts already. And Foles, Foles just because, it was so short. But like in terms of guys that are the starters.
Jalen is in the middle. Like this is the best season the Eagles quarterbacks ever had.
Well, think about this. The Eagles have had X amount of like quote unquote starting quarterbacks. And Foles does not count in my opinion on this. So X amount of starting quarterbacks. Yeah, fine. Include him in 2013, right? Only twice has a starter led their team to the Super Bowl. And Jalen did it in his second year.
Yeah, it's a great point.
McNabb had
Jaws did it too. It was just not during our lifetime.
Good
you
point.
Should say during our lifetime.
You're right. Yeah. But and I'm sure some of the guys that played in black and white
did. No, again, like Jalen Hurts has had the best season in the history of Eagles quarterbacks. Like, he has to win it and all that. Like
McNabb in 04 is up there.
In the base. Yeah, it's McNabb in 04 and this. Those are probably the two best in the history of the Eagles. It was and Wentz.
Oh, wow, the game's tied.
Yeah, tie game. So we'll go watch this. We're gonna real quick. We're gonna talk about who they're playing tomorrow. But if you had to choose for whatever reason,
that's a good way to end it.
Because we get to choose.
Here would
How
be
cool is that?
Yeah.
Real quick, just take a moment and say we get to watch the rest of this game and say we're the ones who are already in.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
And they've been in for like 4 hours. Like the game was over.
Amazing.
Okay,
By
so
the way,
here
shout out to South Philly, Broad Street, the city.
Yeah, it's crazy. Awesome. So here would be my overarching kind of. I think the Bengals have the better. I'm more afraid of Burrow as a quarterback, but their offensive line is so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm honestly.
So here's the way I'm at.
I think they're kind of the same.
And I think this cuts into right what you're saying because I do think they're kind of the same. I think they're like even. When I look at it, I was like, oh, but this, but that. Maybe the Bengals are slightly better. We like them going in. Here's the thing. It would just be more fun against Andy. So since they're like the same, I think it would just be fun to face Andy. I think it's just a fun storyline. It's fun. It's a fun 2 weeks. So
well, here's a question.
I'm rooting for that.
Is Andy a big game coach?
Not really. I mean,
and this is a big game for him.
Yeah,
it's not just Super Bowl, but like it's yeah.
So anyway,
I don't think it matters. I think they have the same chance against both of them.
Either way, tune in tomorrow and we'll talk about who they're playing. We'll go and watch the rest of this. And man, this is special. Again, like third time in our lives, me and Elliot, and if you're around our age, the third time in our lives, we've gotten to see our team go to the Super Bowl. Relish it.
Last thing I'll say. So we did talk about how awesome the event on Friday night was, right?
Oh my God.
And
I was going to lead tomorrow with it, but go.
Yeah,
it was the best thing ever.
It was an unbelievable event.
Love
like,
all of you.
Dude,
everyone
seeing
we met,
all those people, like so many new friends, so many real
people,
ones.
So many people said real ones auto downloaders. Stuff that like blew my mind.
Well, but also I'm happy that happened when it did because it makes this like, look, this is our jobs. It's our profession, whatever. what makes this awesome is things like Friday night and thinking about all the people we met on Friday night that are so happy right now.
I mean, I know that's what I was saying at the
Yeah,
beginning. That was
like-
my whole thing is I'm happy for me,
Right.
but I'm happy for this and us and like
Yeah.
everyone going on this ride with us and like the fact that like we care about this thing so much
Right.
and this team so much to do this together. Like it feels more special. Like doing the daily pods, all the feedback,
Yeah.
meeting all the people the other night. It just makes it feel so much more special.
100% agree. And we'll see if they win. We'll see if they lose. Who knows? But like, it's just going to be an unbelievable 2 weeks with everybody.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
And I can't wait to get up into the pod.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we're going to be back tomorrow morning. Like literally less than 12 hours from now, we'll be recording. Like 11 hours from now, we'll be back right here on the YouTube channel. Check it out. The pods will be coming out because we're doing daily pods at Super
I
Bowl.
can't wait.
God, we're going to the Super Bowl, man. Whew. All right. We love all of you. Like literally from the bottom of our hearts to Elliot's point. Like this is so much more special because you're with us, and I'm so excited.
And I have a
Tomorrow
really
today.
important question.
Yeah.
We can ask it today and tease it, or we can ask it tomorrow.
You know what it is. So do you think it's more fun to tease it or not? You think it'd be more fun doing now?
I think it'd be more fun to do it now.
Do it.
Should I wear my wedding suit to the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, you have to. It's green. So for those who don't know, Elliot's wedding suit is green. Yes.
I kind of want to buy
The
new.
vibes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want everyone's feedback. You
Okay,
know?
so we'll
Should I buy a new suit? Should I wear
we'll
that? Is
talk
it
more
green?
about
Like,
this
yeah.
tomorrow. We'll dive into this deep tomorrow. Everyone start thinking about it. We'll bring it up again tomorrow and we'll go from there. And I like the thought.
Yeah.
It's an important question.
One more thing, I promise. I swear on my life. But so literally, I said to myself, I want to start when they go to the Super Bowl. This is how I want to start the pod, and I messed it up. So I
Oh,
want you to
no.
pretend like we're just starting the
Oh, I
pod.
love this. This is
Okay.
great.
So
Okay.
oh my God, they're going to Super Bowl.
Hey,
Blah, blah.
hello, go
And-
Birds.
okay,
Yeah,
here's
go
what I'm
ahead.
gonna say. Ready?
Yeah.
James, look at the date of when I purchased my ticket to Arizona.
Wow. January 9th.
January 9th.
Wow.
There was never a doubt.
I love that. That's awesome.
And everyone goes, wow, oh my God. He believed all along. So there
like
you go.
you said, this team was meant for it.
It was meant
Like,
for it.
any other thing just wouldn't have felt right.
Second I saw they were playing the Giants, I said, I got to buy the ticket.
We're going to the Super Bowl. This is so
Yeah, it's going to be
fun.
awesome.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning soon. This is
He's
awesome.
Elliot.
Love you. Yes, he's Elliot. I'm James.
There it is.
The Eagles are going to the freaking Super Bowl. He's MJ.
Yeah.
Crush it.
Thank you to everybody. Oh my God.
Oh.
Thank
Hey,
you,
everybody.
Greg,
This is so
Peter.
fun. I love everybody
Yes,
so
it's
much
gonna be a
with all
fun
my
2
heart.
weeks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Ish.
Ish.